This is a PXG 0311 Gen 7 iron, and on the outside, PXG has really worked hard to clean it up, make it look a little bit more sophisticated, more civilized. On the inside of this iron, however, the company has put in several technologies to give you more distance, more stability, and softer feel. From the start, PXG has always tried to make irons that look like a better player's muscle back blade, but that will give you performance like a game improvement iron or a better player's distance iron. The 0311 Gen 7 irons have a body that is made out of 8620 carbon steel, and it is forged 5 times. After that, the back of the heads are then going to be milled. So a high-speed bit goes back and forth over the back of the head, shaving off tiny little pieces of material so the shape that the engineers are looking for can be most precisely created. Now, the faces of the irons are made out of an HT 1770 stainless steel. It's a very, very hard material. And according to PXG, the hitting area is actually the thinnest in golf. 5/100ths of an inch thick. So that face is going to be able to flex a lot more effectively at the moment of impact without breaking, which is really important because the more flex you can get in the face, the more ball speed you're going to be able to generate. PXG has added a new polymer material inside of this hollow body design called quantum core. A quantum core is a polymer that is exceptionally soft and resilient. So when you put it under pressure, it snaps back into place a lot more effectively than previous polymers that have been used in 0311 irons. The quantum core material that's inside the 0311 Gen 7 irons does two really important things. First, it has durability and strength, support to that super thin face, so it's not going to break upon impact. But it does that in a way that it's going to allow it to still flex a lot more effectively at the moment of impact. It doesn't impede the flex while it supports. And the second thing that the quantum core material does really effectively, more effectively than the other polymers that PXG has used in the past, is transfer energy back into the shot. So while impact is being created, the quantum core material is going to compress and then spring back into place more effectively. It's going to transfer more energy from your shot into the golf ball, and that's going to help to produce more distance. Now, in addition to the quantum core material, inside the head of each one of the 0311 Gen 7 irons is a piece of tungsten, about 20 grams of tungsten. It's positioned out here in the toe. That is going to help to offset the weight of the hosel and bring the ideal hitting position more in line with the center of the face. It also helps to lower the center of gravity. So especially on the long irons, you're going to be able to hit a higher shot than you would otherwise because, again, that center of gravity has been positioned lower. Now, if you go to the back of the head, you'll notice that there is a swappable weight that is in the back of this head. It's not meant to be changed or adjusted by consumers. That weight, which is made out of titanium, is there so that fitters during the fitting process can change the swing weights of the heads very easily to allow players to experience what a lighter swing weight is going to be or what a heavier swing weight is going to be. The fact that they're all made out of titanium, and titanium is obviously a lot lighter material than the 8620 carbon steel that's used in the rest of the head, that's going to push a little bit more weight out to the perimeter. So you will get a little boost of stability because more weight is taken out of the middle and is pushed out towards the heel and the toe. But the big story with that weight is that it's going to allow fitters to be able to adjust the swing weights of the head. So back in June, I had the opportunity to go to Scottsdale National and give a try to the 0311 Gen 7 XP as well as the P irons. And it was really interesting because I think when you take a look at these clubs, you expect them to probably give you a lot of distance. What I don't think anybody is ever really prepared for, and what I always am surprised with, is how soft PXG irons feel at the moment of impact. I think the looks of them are exactly what PXG has set out to do. It looks like a better player's distance iron. It looks like a better player's club, not really like a game improvement iron, which certainly the XP version is. But the feel, because of that quantum core material, is exceptionally soft. It is significantly softer at impact than I think a lot of people are expecting. It does a tremendously good job of cutting down on vibrations. It feels like a solid body forged iron. And that's what I think a lot of people are going to be looking for. I am always surprised with how soft PXG irons feel. To me, the 7th generation, the Gen 7 irons, feel the softest that the PXG has ever made. So I think that, number one, is a really good thing. Number two, the distance goes all the way through the bag. I think that's something really important that you want to be aware of. It's great when you're hitting a 5, 6, or 7 iron, say 5 or 7 yards farther. And I did notice that I did get about a half club's more distance with the Gen 7s compared with the Gen 6. According to PXG, you're going to get a couple miles an hour more ball speed, be able to produce the same launch angle, but with lower spin. Well, The same launch angle, faster with lower spin, should give you more distance. That added distance is going to be great. However, it's going to be really important that you work with a good custom fitter to make sure that at the bottom of your bag, whether you're playing the pitching wedge that might come with a set of Gen 7 irons, if you decide to go in with a gap wedge in these, which is available, at some point or another when you transition out of these hollow body distance style irons and you go into your first wedge, maybe it's your gap wedge, maybe it's even your sand wedge, there's a construction difference. There's a change that's going to be taking place there, and you're going to want to be really careful with your distance gaps. You do not want to create a massive gap between your last iron and your first wedge. 10 yards of gap, 12 yards of gap is fine. But if you're hitting these irons a lot farther and you do not change out, for example, your sand wedge and your lob wedge, you don't change the lofts on that to change the distance gaps, you could end up with a massive gap unintentionally in the place where you want to have the shortest gaps. Be sure to talk to your custom fitter. Be sure to be aware of what your distance gaps are going to be and make changes accordingly. Keep those gaps tight. Now, cosmetically, because the XP and the P look so similar, I think a very savvy move is going to be work with a custom fitter and consider going with XPs in the long irons and maybe your mid irons, and then going with the more precision-oriented P model of the Gen 7 in, say, your scoring clubs, maybe an 8-9 pitching wedge, gap wedge kind of thing. These clubs, the XPs, are exceptionally forgiving. They're just a little bit bigger. For recreational golfers, having long irons that are bigger, more forgiving, more stable, that's fantastic. If you're a more accomplished golfer who isn't really looking for that in your scoring clubs, then going with something like the P iron rather than the XP could make a lot of sense. And blending these two clubs together would be very, very easy with the help of a custom fitter. So that's the PXG 0311 Gen 7 irons. And look, if you've got any questions about them, if you've got any comments, be sure to drop them into the comment area below. I do try and keep my eyes on that comment area and answer questions for people when they post them there. So feel free to do that. As always, it would be fantastic if you would like, comment, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. And I will look forward to seeing you again real soon. Thanks.